Does assigning tasks make you uncomfortable? Join us for some real talk. Today, I had the great opportunity to train a small group of people on how to use tasks. And if you've ever met me, you know that tasks are some of my favorite features within Clio. And we were talking about it today. And this really nice gentleman, this attorney, said to me, I assigned a task last week and I almost felt guilty, right? He felt like, and as he described, when he was just assigning this task, that he was basically saying to the person, you have to do this right now by creating this task, which I thought was so funny because when we are, just in our daily lives and interacting with our team, it's not unusual for us to just walk up to a person or call up a person on the phone and say, hey, Corinne, can you prepare this notice for me? That's very typical, happens all the time in a law firm, right? But there's something about putting it in the task that he felt very uncomfortable with. And I'll tell you, he's not the first one. I've talked to a lot of people that feel similarly. And so I have discovered banners on the video here. So I'm going to show you. Um, I've seen it two different situations that come up a lot, right? And here's my banner number one: assigning a task to a supervisor, right? When we assign a task to a supervisor, that can be uncomfortable sometimes, right? Because a lot of times we think of the supervisor assigning us tasks, right? And us, assigning us stuff to do. But here's the reality. Um, work doesn't just flow one way in a law firm, right? The attorney might draft something and maybe the, paralegal is going to go ahead and review that and add some detail to it. And then maybe the legal assistant's going to finalize it and file it. It can go back to the attorney for review once somebody else reviews it. And so it can flow in both directions. And so it is common that we would want to make tasks for our supervisors for them to review things or for them to do things when it's time for them to do it. And even more importantly, just to remind them that it needs to be done, right? Okay, here's the other situation I see a lot: assigning a task to another team member, right? And again, same kind of scenario. If I have an overload of work and my team member sitting right next to me has not as much work, hey, do you mind preparing this for me? I know you had it up on your screen a few minutes ago. It'll only take you a minute. It'll take a lot off my plate. Do you mind? Oh, yeah, let me help you out with that. Like, that's not uncommon. But sometimes, again, it just feels a little bit differently when we put it into a task in Clio. Okay, so what's our solution? How are we going to fix this, right? Real talk, guys. This is not super hard, but it does take some candor and it does take some communication. So, my best advice: get everybody on your team in the same room, Zoom room if it has to be, in person if we can, and let's all sit down and let's talk about when we use tasks, what is it that we're trying to convey, right? So a lot of times I will say, let's all just agree in this room right now that when we create a task, what we're really saying is, will you please help me with this, right? And while it may say in the task, prepare complaint, what I really mean is, will you please help by preparing this complaint for the client, right? And if we can all just agree that that's what a task means and that's how we're approaching our tasks, and it's not that demand of you have to do this right now, right? This is hey, this is what's next. This is what we need your help with. Will you please do this? As long as we all agree to that up front, then now when we receive our tasks or when we're sending our tasks, we can all be on the same page that this is a very kind, reasonable response and kind, reasonable request that we're making to our other team members to get things done within the office and work as a team, as opposed to a demand that we're making on behalf of some other interest. So let's all sit down, let's all make that agreement, and let's start building a culture around tasks where we do communicate what needs to be done and what has been done through the use of our Clio tasks. So let me know how that conversation goes in your office. I'd love to hear about it. Have you been struggling with this as well? Is there something else that helped with this? I would love to hear your experience. Feel free to save it in the comments. And if you are looking to have more discussions like this, join us for our Streamline Legal Plus membership, where we talk about these issues, other trainings, and how we can all use Clio to its fullest. Thanks so much for joining me tonight. Have a great evening.